Gentlemen, this is the Brock Lawley program. My name is Brock Lawley. I am your fearless host. This is the show that tackles the news headlines, something about like chaff, right? The golden wheat of truth on the one side, in the Democrat media complex chaff, nonsense on the other side. That's what we do here. I serve that truth up to your ADD reality television show media minds on a silver platter of rhetorical deliciousness. That's the show in a nutshell. Let's jump to the story, shall we? Well, in a hailstorm of distraction and deflection stories from the devastated, media-destroyed Democrat machine, just throwing nonstop nails on the highway of actual constituent information. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the new health care plan, right? This is the new health care plan. I can just tell you right now, I have a ton of problems with it. I really do. However, unlike a lot of my conservative kin, whose concerns are all valid, by the way, and whose points are all valid, I'm willing to take it. I really am. I'm willing to take it. You know, the biggest Achilles heel of this thing is that they want to give tax subsidies. And, that's the way that's being spoken of is that this is just more government coercion. And quite frankly, there's no factual or intellectually honest argument against that. That is what it is. And the fact that the IRS gets to dictate our behavior in any way, shape, or form is something I'm opposed to. However, this is the reality of the situation. You have Paul Ryan, you have McConnell, and you have a bunch of rhinos that even, and just bear this in mind, even as they, just think about this as I tell you this, let this wash over your imagination and your mind, as they sit over the Senate, as they sit over the House, and they have Donald Trump, who's not really a Republican, but they have Donald Trump in the White House. They still cower. They still capitulate. They still run and hide from the refuted and discredited and embarrassed and rundown media. They still have no stones. They still will not just do what is right. And those realities are what they are. It's just for whatever reason, these rhinos continue to see office. I can't stand them. I have no respect for them. I'm just telling you that right now. The Republican Party disgusts me. I've been very frank with you about that. But it's the reality we face. And Obamacare is actually, despite all the nonsense, it's crushing people. Financially crushing them. I don't care about the spin. I don't care about the Obama legacy. I don't care about the complete fabricated fiction that we've been hearing since Donald Trump's been elected in this regard. Obamacare is hurting real people. Real people are getting hurt. And the other foot's about to drop by way of premium hikes and just devastating consequences. The thing is hemorrhaging. And there's a lot of ideas in this bill, and I would encourage you to read it, that actually will make a difference. There really, really, truly are. They have a lot of competitive stuff going on, and of course their talking point by way of the people in leadership, their talking point is that this is just stage one, like this is a wave of infantry that come in, only to be followed by a second wave and a third, etc. But what we know of Washington, and certainly what we know of the Republican capitulators and cowards, is that they lie. They absolutely lie. They have no courage. And so conservative purists are like, this is the time right now. Drop the hammer of Thor on this thing. Kill it. Don't massage it. Don't fix it. But this is the reality. And let me tell you why it's the reality. Republicans live like mother's milk off of media spin, media hype. What are they being told? Pollsters, insiders, hacks, Beltway, bureaucrats, etc. They're convinced that this is an entitlement. They're convinced that people who have it are going to be furious when they lose it. They don't want to have any political fallout, which is another word for courage, by the way. If you know what's right and you don't do it, that's a cowardly act. And I think a lot of these guys know that, but they also know that the Democratic Party really has, like Pavlovian, training or whatever, has trained people to look at the government as the provider of not only their life, but even their health. It's sad, but it's a reality. And the Republican Party just does not want to jump on that grenade. Irony of all ironies that the Democrats take a crap in the living room. The Republicans, of course, get down on their hands and knees with Clorox bleach, try to scrub it up, and what they should do is take that entire rug, throw it in the front yard, set it on fire. But instead, they're on their hands and knees scrubbing it up. It's reeking all over the place. There's a huge brown stain. And now the media, the Democrat media complex, which is what they are, will now, like they rewrite everything, this will become Republicans' fault. This will all become Republicans' fault. Just like all of a sudden now, hocus pocus, the Democrats were in favor of civil rights, even though they were completely opposed to civil rights. And then they care about African Americans, even though they're the party of Jim Crow and slavery and so on and so forth. 100 years from now, I say this all the time, 100 years from now, they'll be the pro-life party. They warred against the evil Gosnell abortion genocide that we now live with. This is just the world we live in. The Republican Party, they're cowards yesterday, they're cowards today, they'll likely be cowards tomorrow. I think Donald Trump, however, is like I really believe this guy to be somewhat of an external sort of organism in the host that's been plopped there by the voters. And there is tremendous effort underway to delegitimize him, just like any organism. Washington, D.C., the bureaucratic state, is an organism. They exist to exist. They exist to grow and grow bigger and fatter and consume more. That's what they do. That's why they exist. Anything else they say is just their mouth moving. Donald Trump is a genuine threat in that organism. And the organism is fighting back. You see it from the deep state. You see it from all these leaks. You see it from the attacks he's getting on the Rhino right. John McCain is supposedly undermining him every day. This is just what you have, and then you have the Democrat Party, who is just shell shocked from their untethering from reality and disillusionment in the last election, clinging to the most unlikable human being on the planet, let alone politician on the planet, Hillary Clinton. She was defeated in a bloodbath. And by the way, the Clintons remain a problem. Now they're sniffing around the Chelsea Clinton candidacy. I mean, these people are addicted like meth to the Clintons. That's a whole other story. So I'll keep you updated as I can on this healthcare evolve. I just can tell you right now what they should do is put a stake through the heart of Obamacare and build something in the private sector that works. Private sector, of course, works. Of course it works. It's not even debatable. The best example of this is truly plastic surgery, right? Plastic surgery is a complete free market medical surgery. I mean, completely free market. You pay for that completely out of pocket. And what has happened over the last 10 to 15 years? It's gotten better. It's gotten more affordable. Very, very affordable compared to when it first came out, which was like, maybe the latest movie star or something could afford it. Now you can walk in and Botox yourself to death for, this side of $1,000. And that's because the free market competed with itself. All these, Lamborghini doctors that pump, fluid into 48-year-old housewives' face in Bel Air, they're all competing for those dollars, right? So all those medical procedures lower in cost. All that stuff is all market-based, and that's exactly what healthcare should be. But that's not the equality of outcome that the left desires, and the most important thing here is that's not going and funneling through the state. Both on your local, your state, and your federal level. Everything must turnstile through the state if you talk to the left. That's where we are. That's where we find ourselves with this healthcare situation, this Obamacare-lite, as a lot of people are calling it. We'll move on. My boy Pruitt at the EPA is stacking the EPA with quote-unquote climate change deniers. God bless this man and all of his endeavors. Look, climate change deniers is just a term for we don't want the left, of course, and the junk science left to use the fact that the climate changes, which any Tom, Dick, and Harry could tell you is true. But no, the reason it's changing is because you're passing gas at your bungholio, or you're driving some sort of car, or whatever such nonsense, unsubstantiated nonsense. Climate change is refuted by the science weekly. It's weekly refuted, but nonetheless, the EPA has bigger fish to fry. It's a unelected form of tyrannical government that, in my opinion, should not only be reformed, but should be completely driven into the graveyard. So Pruitt is just on his game. Anytime you got the climate change crowd up in pennies in a bunch, hysterics, that's a win for America. Ladies and gentlemen, Henniger has an amazing piece. I really want to encourage you. This is the money piece of today. Have you heard one Democrat denounce the Millbury students? And the answer of that is no. I think there's been speech, some clamor about this being a free speech case for the ages. I think there's a lot of truth in that. Look, your colleges have become havens of fascistic, authoritarian, Orwellian speech codes, and they just shut down anybody who disagrees with them. And the Millbury students, by the way, if you want to see this, it's a Mediaite, it's everywhere, stifling the free speech. And then they interview some of these women. They interview some of these students, and it's just remarkable. The students at the university, they just don't believe in free speech anymore. They just simply do not believe in the concept of it. And this is how it goes. I'll cliff notes this for you. For too long, this is almost a quote, but it's not quite a quote. For too long, hate mongers on the right have been able to come to our campuses and spew hateful ideas under the guise and protection of free speech laws. No longer will we afford them this privilege. So clearly this person has had their head defecated in by way of college to the tune of probably this is an Ivy League school, so probably $90K a year. She's paying for the privilege to have these professors porta potty, use their mind as a porta potty of anti-Americanism, Marxism, idiocy of the top shelf order. Hate speech, by the way, the hate she's referring to are ideas she disagrees with economically, socially, so on and so forth. That's don't confuse this with actual hate. Of course that's not hate. Anything that pierces the armor of the leftist identity. The left doesn't have an ideology; they have an identity. What leftism is an identity. It's true. I've heard that on a talk radio show today. Just today, I thought it was brilliant. It's absolutely true. The left doesn't have ideology. They don't even have a political party. They don't. When you hear the word leftist, let's say you hear the word Democrat, right? You shouldn't correlate that with conservative or even Republican. Conservative fill their lives with purpose, meaning. Oftentimes that's found in religion, etc. That's not the case with leftism. Their identity, their personhood is wrapped up in these movements. So when you say anything they don't like or disagree with, you're attacking their personhood. This is very true. This is spot on right. So a person comes in, says something that this person doesn't agree with. She, of course, takes it personally because her personhood is her weirdo, reinvented morality that she likes to spew, which, of course, has nothing to do with actual morality, the way you treat people, etc. It's all about whether you have the right opinions, are you politically correct, are you keeping people safe in their safe spaces, the whole 9 yards. This is what they are. They have an identity, and so that's why they can't discuss anything. That's why they're shutting everybody down who says anything they don't like. It's really quite terrifying. But anyway, look this up. Not a single leftist denounces just a pure, naked aggression towards free speech, First Amendment. It's just remarkable. Instead, it's the Trump's attacking the media. Trump is attacking the media. This is their claim. In the midst of open universities, just wall to wall, leftists holding hands. The kumbaya, leftists holding hands fast. Just stifling free speech. Just straight up Soviet-style stifling of free speech. Ladies and gentlemen, the illegal border crossings dropping 40%. Seems like they're getting the message. By the way, Trump adds 250,000 jobs in a month. Quote, this is a quote from your dear leader, Barack Obama, about, 3 months ago. Quote, this is not an embellishment. The jobs aren't coming back. This was in response to his toilet bowl economic numbers that he was receiving. A month into President Trump's administration, 250,000 jobs created. And that's to say nothing of the enormous influx of wealth and market share that has come from the markets loosening up, coming alive like the Narnia winter. The spring is here again economically. Another Trump hate hoax, by the way. Wonder a woman mentioned that she was like physically assaulted by a Trump member. Now it turns out she actually was completely lying about the entire thing. I would really love somebody to do an extensive research on how many of these claims end up being hoaxes. But it doesn't matter because they hit the headlines, right? They hit the headlines, and then you never hear that there's a hoax. But I'm serious, like 90% of these leftist quote unquote hate crimes are just hoaxes. Sometimes these sick people even do it to themselves. Sometimes it's not to say that nothing ever happens, but it's just remarkable. What does it say about a movement, if you want to call it that has to perpetrate their own hate crimes on themselves just to keep headlines moving? It's just remarkable. By the way, a hilarious reality, Reasons to Vote for Democrats becomes an instant bestseller. It's number 1 on Amazon. It's 200 and some odd pages of absolutely nothing. It's blank pages. This guy's a genius. And he's running all the way to the bank with it, too. Again, I remind you, Reasons to Vote for Democrats. You buy the book, it comes to your house, 250 blank pages. Bravo, buddy. Bravo. You know this is sand in the oyster of the left. You just know it. And lastly, my fellow Americans, today was a woman's something or other day where angry, bitter, homely women take to the streets, lecture Americans, meanwhile yawning at the complete and total horrific experiences of women in the Islamic State, in fact, defending those practices. Moreover, this is also the day when delightful, feminine women go out on dates and get married, but don't show up for the Women's March. Thank you for listening to the Brock Lawley program. Be a people of fortitude, character, and